You've made a lot of wings since I've worked here, but this is probably the best wing.
I think so.
That flavor is phenomenal.
Couldn't resist.
Couldn't resist the wing.
And I was like, I'm going to just have one.
Tempted you. Then one wouldn't do it. It's like a Lay's potato
Like
chip.
6 wings later, I'm like, all right, you really got to stop this.
Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, and I'm joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell. We got Tyler over here on the boards today and rocking it out.
What's up, y'all?
How's everybody doing?
Good, good. We're inching towards the end of this week.
It's towards another one.
It's been a busy one.
Yeah, I'm headed out of town today.
Where are you going?
I am going to, it's a fundraiser for St. Jude down at West Point, Mississippi. It's held by Mossy Oak, and this is the second time I've been. I went last year for the first time, had a blast. But it's called the Foxhole Shootout, and one day is like a golf tournament, which I don't play golf, so I won't be participating in that. But after that, they have like a fundraiser dinner. To me, it looks just like a bunch of chefs from all over. You ought to pull it up and look who else will be there.
I did.
There
was some chefs from Canada.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's famous chefs from all over, from Florida, from down on the coast, from around the Mississippi area, from as far north as Canada. So there's going to be people cooking some delicious stuff, and actually, I don't have to cook.
You just get to eat.
I just get to go and try and have a good time, and
so is it like a sit down?
Raise some money.
Is it like a sit down meal, or is it like you go to booth and try their?
The way they did it last year, they had it's at this big ranch, and they have I don't even know how to describe the building. I don't know what it's used for. I guess for rentals or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of looks like it's for parties.
Yeah,
but it's in the middle of this ranch, and outside they'll set up a big tent last year they had a bunch of like brio pits. They did a ton of live fire cooking. And then there were some people that brought some barbecue trailers, different kinds of smokers, grills, things like that. But they're cooking all this food live action outside, and then they serve it underneath the tent, and you just kind of go through.
So you don't go from booth to booth and try?
No, not really. They kind of, I guess, what do you call it, buffet style?
Yeah.
I guess it would be. But they just put the food out, and they'll have people there serving it, and you just kind of walk through and get what you want.
What kind of meats, or do you know? Or what did they have last year?
Last year, it was a bunch of wild game. But they had lamb, they had fresh oysters, they had tuna, they had wild hog, they had quail. I mean, I saw all kinds of stuff last year. There was, from making tacos to like gyros to just any kind of meat you could think of that's wild game that Mossy Oak has a hand in, because they have a whole Mossy Oak butcher shop where they have elk, they have red stag, they have buffalo or bison, they have
do they have that one
gator, they have seafood, they have a lot of different kinds of stuff.
Did they
rabbit, sausages, all kinds of stuff.
What did we eat at the World Squirrel Cook-Off? It was an exotic animal that Shane was cooking.
Nilgai.
Do they have nilgai?
No, I don't think they sell nilgai.
What is that?
It's a species of antelope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not native.
Yeah, it's not native around here.
I think it's from India or somewhere like that. It's like an Indian antelope or something. It's a huge animal. It's really good. I thought it was good. But my favorite thing they have is probably those elk chops at Mossy Oak. Man, those are so good. But the bison ribeyes are good. We've cooked those at contests before. Done really well with them at Memphis May in the exotic category one year. And I've cooked them for people, and I was like, all right, tell me which one's beef. They couldn't tell the difference.
One guy argued with you.
Yeah.
So this is not elk.
No,
was it elk or bison?
It was bison.
Oh,
yeah.
This is, yeah.
He was swearing it was ribeye. They look like, they're just leaner. Like it doesn't have the intermuscular marbling that beef has.
But you know how to cook it, so.
Yeah, just cook it rare.
Yeah. That's all there is to it.
Season it up good and cook it right. You can't go wrong with it.
You were supposed to go to Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I've cooked a lot of that Mossy Oak stuff before in videos. I've gotten to go to their camp and do some videos for their websites and stuff. And
is it Wild Game Butchery?
Yeah, Gamekeeper.
Gamekeeper Butchery, yeah.
Gamekeeper Butchery, yeah.
But this weekend you were supposed to go to Murphysboro.
I was supposed to go to Murphysboro, but then I didn't know this event was going to be the same, and I'd already obligated myself to go back to Mossy Oak. So
You even had your hotel and everything.
Yeah, I've got a hotel room in Murphysboro. Well, I passed it off to Luke. Luke's going to go represent me at Murphysboro because Mark and Jamie will be there cooking Swine Life. They're going to be cooking the MBN side of that contest. It's
Are they just doing MBN?
Yeah, I think they're doing all three. I'm not positive. Or, hog shoulder ribs. It's a fun contest. And that's what I hate about this time of year because there gets to be multiple events and there's only so many weekends in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
The weather gets right and you want to hit them all, but there's no way you can do it. So
there are you would think that the springtime would be the big event, but it's like
it's more September, October is where it seems like those 8 weeks are just crazy because there's something to do every single weekend.
I mean, you got the Jack in there. You've got
Royal Oak Invitational. Yeah. The American Royals in there.
The SEA usually does their World Championship. Yeah.
There's a lot of contests in the Delta that are awesome contests. There's something to do every single weekend. You throw in football season.
Complicates things.
Before you know it, it's Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's fixing to be Christmas. I was already looking at Christmas trees the other day.
I went in Walgreens this morning after I dropped Michael off at school. I had to grab a few things for my trip. As soon as I walk in the door, what do I smell? Cinnamon pine cones. They've got the little, the little brooms that look like cinnamon or smell like cinnamon. They've got those, and they've got a whole thing of the Christmas pine cones out. But I was
technically, I guess those could be fall pine.
Yeah, I guess. Cinnamon, I guess cinnamon goes with fall too, but I think of it more as Christmas.
I saw a TikTok the other day. Somebody was complaining that pumpkin gets all the love this time of year. Everything's pumpkin flavored, and there's so many other flavors that are fall.
I'll take apple. I'll take apple over pumpkin anytime. Are you a pumpkin guy?
No, I love apple. Yeah. So Starbucks this time of year obviously goes full force on pumpkin spice, but they also have an apple crisp, shaken espresso, macchiato, whatever you want, and it is so much better. So good.
I'll tell you something your wife made that was excellent, Tyler. 2 things. You brought us some bread to the house, and I guess it was banana bread?
Yes.
It made it every bit of 5 minutes. It was a loaf of banana bread. Michael had cut some of it, and I said, is it good? He said, yeah, it's real good. So I tried. I was like, oh, man, this is awesome. And then the sourdough was good, but you brought some pumpkin, I guess they're pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. And when you said that, I was like, oh, that's going to be disgusting. But the bread was so good, I had to try one. Man, they're fantastic.
So I convinced her to omit the allspice, which is I think a primary ingredient in what makes something pumpkin spice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they really just had pumpkin puree, cinnamon, that kind of stuff, and then dark chocolate chips and stuff like that. They were really, really good. And
I think so.
I'm not a big fan of allspice either.
Here's what I think she could do with that, because it reminded me of Jamaican spices. Because pumpkin spice is a lot like that, because they have the allspice, the clove, all those kind of flavors go with jerk spices, but they just amp the heat up and they add some herbs to it. So why couldn't you make a brown sugar Jamaican spiced without the the herbs and stuff cookie? It would be like a Caribbean cookie.
That's a good
I think it would be really good, and I bet she could come up with a way to do that.
She probably could. That sounds like a good idea.
Because all it would be, you could even put some dried fruit in it if you want to.
Yeah.
Like a mango cookie or a pineapple cookie or something.
Sounds really good. I'll pass that one along. She's baking whenever fall hits, that's her baking mode kicks in. She starts doing all kinds of stuff like that. So
I'm down to test it. We don't do a lot of baking at our house, Michelle.
I'm not a big baker. Yeah. Well, it's a lot of precise measurements and technique and stuff like that.
Less measuring with the heart.
Yeah, we're more meat and vegetable instead of bacon.
I'm more of a cook.
I'm the cook in the house, and she's the baker. So
I can make a pan of biscuits or a pan of cornbread, but that's about the extent of my baking.
That's as far as you go.
Other than a dump cake.
Yeah.
Or cobbler. But is that bacon? When you do it on the, it's not really bacon if it's a casserole. To me, a casserole is not bacon. Yeah. Making mac and cheese is not bacon. Just because you put it in the oven on 350, don't make it bacon. To me, bacon's when you actually have to precisely measure out stuff and knead the bread or make out, there's more skill to it.
I'm good at desserts that don't need to be pretty. Like that.
Oh, yeah. Like dump cakes.
Yeah. Like that Heath bar cake where you just make a box cake and then poke holes in it and pour a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, but I'll put that up against anything.
It's good.
it's
And your banana pudding's really good too, right?
Yeah, yeah. See, banana pudding.
There's no bacon in that.
Yeah,
Tyler.
there's none.
It's just whipping. Just start.
It's whipping.
You fool some people. Shell's got a lot of these really, really good desserts that'll fool people that think you can bake.
Yeah, exactly. And like a cobbler doesn't have to be pretty, you know.
No, you just start some stuff up and throw it in.
Bread pudding.
I love a good bread pudding. Is that bacon?
No,
If you baked the bread from scratch, you could call it bacon, but it's more dumping and cooking.
She's made bread pudding with her sourdough before.
Is it?
I don't know if it's like the flavor. It's not bad. It's just not as good as like, you know, crap. Like I don't mean to say crappy bread, but like, you know what I mean?
Just day old French bread or loaf bread makes the best bread pudding.
Mm-hmm. I think French bread's better
old rolls.
than a sourdough. Yeah.
To me, it needs like a yeast bread.
Yes.
Yeah. You need a yeasty light bread to make a really good bread pudding.
But you said your wife has been working on this sourdough starter for like a year.
Yeah. So it just turned a year old, I believe, like 3 weeks ago or something.
It's so wild to me that you've kept this thing alive, I guess, for a year and keep making bread out of it.
I think the longer it goes, the more forgiving it is. Right now, she has like a week in between where if she doesn't feed it, it's okay. It'll still survive. She just has to take it out and like omit some of what's in the jar and then feed it or I don't know. I've helped her a few times, you know, whenever she gets busy or whatever, but I don't really mess with it.
That's kind of like our old hooch we had in college.
I don't think it's anything like that.
It's a lot like you just keep some going. It's always some in the dorm fridge and you just add it to the next batch of hooch next time and then you always save a bottle of it.
That's just
for the
gross.
next one.
Hilarious.
Kept it going. It's been going for years. I wonder if there's still some of that floating around Oxford.
Is that
how do it be so fermented and touched? And maybe there's enough Everclear in it to kill anything. That's the only thing I had going for it. There was a ton of booze in it, and hopefully the alcohol would kill off any germs.
That might be why you didn't get sick in college.
It probably was. That was
you were giving yourself a small dose.
Those mixers, those dorm room mixers, where you just have a garbage can full of mystery liquor. It's a good place to get everybody germed up.
We used to always do it in a cooler.
We did it in whatever kind of vessel you could find.
Yeah,
old keg bucket would make a good one.
Now they've got the cute little punch buckets at Walmart for, $10, $15. They didn't have them. I
saw you bought 2 more of them the other day.
You never know when you need to take a punch somewhere.
It sucks cleaning them for one, because they get sticky and nasty. And if you take it somewhere, it's okay to get it there, but you don't want to have to be responsible for getting it back. So it's like, here you go, you got a punch bucket.
And those and those things do not go in the dishwasher easy.
No, you got to hand wash them and disinfect them. And
I mean,
once you break it down, like the seals on the little nozzle never hold seal again the way they should.
I've got a nice one that, I take care of and use special occasions. But if we're going somewhere, those $10 punch buckets from Walmart are the way to go.
Plastic. It holds, is it 5 gallons?
I think so.
It's a lot.
It's 3 or 5.
It's the perfect bullfrog container.
Well, I know we're going to Royal Oak and you're doing a drink there.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm thinking about last year I did bullfrog. So I'll probably do something a little more fall.
Yeah, like a whiskey.
I was thinking of something like that, like a
appley.
Some kind of. It'd have to be a punch because it's for a lot of people.
Didn't you do like a Tennessee Sunrise or something like that? Was that?
That was really good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's orange juice and whiskey and maybe a touch of grenadine.
Yeah, there's not much to it.
You'd have to figure out the ratio to make it a punch.
I don't know. A bourbon punch would be really good. It kind of goes fall, but I was thinking apple. Along the apple line, so like using either Jack Daniel's apple or Crown apple or something like that, and kind of going along those notes.
I love that.
Well, see, because cider goes so good with it.
That's what I was going to say.
But a cold cider is good too, so you could go cold apple cider, kicked up a little bit with some bourbon.
When we were doing the Christmas parade every year, I'd always make hot apple cider. And then everybody could drink it, but then you had the Jack Fire, the Jack Apple on the side. And
for your spiker?
Yeah, you could spike it.
I think I missed that there was a spike when I was I was always just drinking the apples.
Just hot apple cider.
Holding those kids on that parade float.
It's delicious, though.
And when it's cold, it's really good.
This week, you did smoked party wings.
I did. On the drum. And I hadn't done a video on my drum in a while. And man, y'all know that I tell everybody the best flavor on any one of my pits is my drum. And it was never failed me with those wings. Those wings tasted so good. Because we've been cooking pellet grill wings.
Whole pellet grill.
Yeah, for a while. Like we won't just, wings on a Sunday watching football or something. We'll throw a family pack of wings on. You don't do much to them. Dry them off and spray them with a little cooking spray and hit them with some AP and let them roll at 400. Well, these I took a little more care to. So, I was going for more of a smoked flavored wing that still had a nice, outside, little bit of char to it. It's not going to be crispy, but it still has a nice crunch to it. And then toss them in a sauce. Yeah, and toss them in a sauce. So it was like it's a take on a hot wing done on a smoker that tastes really, really good.
But you also go for that soft texture. So you're not crispy, but
they're super tender.
Yeah, but they're super tender.
Exactly. And that's what the smoker does for you, because you've checked those temps back. So you're really rendering any fat that's in there. You're rendering all that fat out of the skin, but the skin still, I wouldn't say it's rubbery. It's bite through, but it just doesn't get that crispy, heavy airflow, dehydrated, almost outside texture that like a pellet grill gives to it. And that's what's great about pellet grills. It'll give you some texture on the outside. It's moving a ton of air because of the way the fan blows in it and the way the heat and the exhaust is drawn through the pit creates a lot of airflow. A drum doesn't do that. I mean, we've just got heat coming up, and it does, it creates some smoke. But for me, I pretty much keep my drum checked back when I'm cooking. I'm not letting it just rock and roll. And I've never tried to do like a hot and fast wing to see if it would get crispy on a drum. I don't think it would. I think,
I mean, you've done it on a Weber with a Vortex.
Yeah. Oh, I have. And that heat does get those not as crispy as the pellet grill, but it gets them really, really good on the outside.
Yeah. And we've tried the methods with, what is it, cornstarch or?
And it works. No doubt about it. You go get a crunchier texture, adding a little cornstarch to the outside.
But then you taste like cornstarch.
But then you get a grittiness to it, and I don't want that grittiness. That's why I'm not a super huge fan of the parm wings, because you can use Parmesan cheese, and I've done it with recipes before, and you get a crust on the outside, but it still has a grittiness to it that I'm just, when I eat a wing, I want it just to be good. First off, I don't want to have to deal with any grittiness.
So why did you decide to go party wings with these?
Well, because it was more of a tailgatey football food.
It's more party.
Yeah, more party. It's more party than a whole wing. Well, so I was thinking, this is football season. Let's cook something that we could cook and take to a tailgate, or do at a tailgate, or at a house. If you're at home and you're just having people over to watch the big game or something. You want something that's easy to eat in one hand.
Mm-hmm. You get more yield.
Yeah. You're not, and not everybody wants to eat a whole wing every time they sit down. Whole wings are a little messier.
Yeah, I feel
but
like
you got to pull them apart and deal with two hands. It's hard to hold your plate. I can walk by a board or a serving platter, grab me a wing, eat it, throw the bone in the garbage, and go back and watch the game around the corner.
Yeah.
It's just easier to eat the party wings. The only thing what is a party wing? All it is wings, whole wings that are cut up into individual pieces. Most of the time, they'll take the tip off the flat, and so you've got the flat, and then you've got the drummy. It's two pieces. Some places will leave that tip on. I do sometimes. It just depends. But when you buy party wings, most of the time they don't come with the tips.
I've never seen them come with the tips.
They're going to come, usually about a 4-pound bag froze. You let
Have
them
you
thaw
ever seen
out.
them fresh?
I don't know if I've ever seen party wings cut up fresh, or just
me either.
Drums and flats.
Not at the grocery store.
Yeah, not at the grocery store. You could probably ask your butcher to do it. I mean, it's easy to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You just disjoint them. You just take a sharp knife, catch them right at the joint, you bend it back a little bit, pop that joint, take the wing, tip, do the same thing on that, and you've got party wings.
And I think that when you buy the whole wings and cut them down yourself, the wings are bigger than the ones you get in the bag.
I don't know. Sometimes
depends.
What I've noticed is like wings, they kind of go in these trends of like, sometimes you'll see all little wings, even at restaurants. Some restaurants, they'll have, they'll go through a spell where it's like, man, why are their wings so little? Why is the wing so little? I don't know if it's like a supply and demand thing. That's what the chicken producers are putting out in the market or what. But here lately, most people are having big wings. I don't know if they've amped the steroids up in the chickens or what it's done to get them so big. But I mean, even like when you go to the Buffalo Wild Wings, their wings are pretty big now.
Yeah.
when I buy these party wings in a bag, I was expecting them to be little bitty runts. That's the one thing, the drawback about buying a frozen party wing is you don't know how big they are in that bag because you can't really see through all of it. I mean, you might can see a few pieces of it, but when they're froze, they look big anyway, and you don't really know. But these were really good sized wings. I mean, here lately, I've been seeing whole wings and frozen wings still, as big as I'd like them.
Yeah. The whole wings we've been buying lately are
pretty big too.
Pretty
yeah.
monsters,
You're still getting 13 to 14 to a flat on a family size tray, that's about standard,
Which is perfect for a family meal for us.
But one thing I do like about the frozen wings, and I didn't do it in the video, is when I bring those home and they're froze, a lot of times I'll take them out of that package they're in because it never fails. You can't put marinade inside that bag because it might have holes in it.
Is that an experience?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've learned that. But I'll take those wings out of their packaging when they're froze, dump them in a big Ziploc bag, and then go ahead and pour my marinade in there and then stick them in the refrigerator and let them thaw out overnight in the marinade. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Instead of having to let them thaw out, which is what I did in the video, I let them thaw out overnight so they would be ready the next day. Then I put them in a marinade and gave them a couple more hours.
But when you thawed them out, when you poured them in the bag with the marinade, they were still a little icy.
A little icy, which is okay. I mean, it takes meat longer than you would think to thaw out in a refrigerator, especially if you just throw it in your second fridge. If you're like us, we got in our laundry room, we have another fridge that we mainly use for drinks and meat because we buy a lot of meat and we buy a lot of drinks. But we're not going in that fridge all the time either. It's staying closed majority of the time. Well, the one in the kitchen, you're usually cooking breakfast. You might go in there and get something for lunch, and then you're making dinner. So you're opening. Kids are opening that fridge. It's constantly getting opened, and so the temperature's changing a lot. And you probably would thaw stuff out faster than it. So just think about those things when you're thawing meat out. But so like for me, I usually give my stuff a day or two in the coldest fridge I have in my house, and that's usually about right. Regardless.
Yeah.
But I like being able to take those party wings, dump the marinade on them while they're froze, and let them sit in there and thaw out because they're getting maximum time in it. And overnight's better. 2 hours minimum, but man, if you can go overnight with that marinade, it really, really gets in that wing.
Do you think adding the marinade helps it thaw faster?
Probably to an extent because you're adding salt and seasonings and stuff like that to it. That makes it want to thaw out. But I think what it does really is just kind of separating it out, getting it in a different package. You're adding some liquid to it. It's pulling some heat away from the meat and hopefully some flavor inside as it's kind of doing its thing.
So you marinated them, then you pulled them out.
And I just kind of put them on a raised rack and let them sit there. I didn't get crazy with these, trying to get them as dry as I can.
I don't think it would have mattered.
It probably wouldn't have mattered that much. But I do know, so if I'm trying to get a crispy wing on a grill, that it needs to have as much moisture off of it as possible. And then it usually has to have a fat on the outside. That's going to help that skin crisp up. Well, on these party wings, I really wasn't worried about that. So if I was going to cook those on a pellet grill, I probably would have let them sit back in the refrigerator on that little raised rack and just let them sit there and air dry for an hour or so. Because the air, you don't realize it, but air is constantly moving in that fridge too, and it dries skin out on chicken really well.
So you drained them essentially?
Yeah, I pretty much drained them and let them drip dry. And then I went ahead and seasoned them up, and I didn't get real crazy with it, a little AP, a little hot rub. You could put anything for a smoked wing. Hey, put whatever barbecue seasoning you like.
You don't even have to go barbecue.
You don't even have to. No, you can go whatever flavor you want.
Yeah. You've done them all different kinds of
I mean, just salt and pepper is good.
I like a good salt and pepper wing.
Well, because you get those savory notes at first. I like the barbecue season because I was kind of going for a smoked wing, but I do like the color it gives the meat. Because I'm always going to be able to change the sauce to whatever flavor I want. So as long as you get those savory notes and you get some good color on it, the wing's going to look good. And then whatever sauce you toss it in is what really, brings it to whatever flavor you want it to be, whether you want to stay in that barbecue realm or you want to go buffalo or whatever.
You've done that a lot, just taking some wings, seasoned them with AP, cooked them. And when you pulled them off, then they go in, you might have an Asian sauce that you toss them in, and then you got Asian wings. You might have the jerk sauce, you toss them in, you got jerk wings, buffalo,
Exactly.
So you take one cooking method and make
several different styles
different styles of wings.
Well, I like having a choice.
I do
don't
too.
want to just eat them all the same.
I want variety. When I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I don't just get one flavor.
Say, how many flavors can I choose? Do you think less of a wing joint if they don't let you, if you can only do one flavor?
I don't think less of them. It depends on what kind of wing I get. If it's a good wing and you're serving it just buffalo style or whatever,
you're cool with it.
I'm cool with it as long as it's a good wing. I don't particularly like a restaurant style barbecue wing because it's usually a crappy barbecue sauce.
I'm with you on that. It's very rare that I'll order a barbecue wing at a wing joint. Very rare.
Gonna be.
There is what's one? It's kind of close, but it's the jam and jalapeno. Is that the one?
That one's good. It's sweet.
It kind of has barbecue notes, but it's more jalapeno flavor. So I like that one. But as far as just ordering like honey barbecue, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you like that gold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kind
now
of
that
mustardy,
so, but I don't.
not
That's not barbecue though.
No, I'm not saying it is, but I just I don't like that mustard sauce.
Really? Oh man, I love it on a wing. That mixed with buffalo. That's like, and I don't know if that was a Memphis thing to originate, where it started from, but it was always called like honey gold or hot honey gold, and honey gold was just like the Carolina vinegar sauce. It was pretty much Cattleman's because that's what everybody got it lit back in the day that had some wing joints in Memphis. And you'd buy that, you'd mix it with melted butter, and you got this. It's a take on a honey mustard with a little bit of barbecue flavor, pretty much. It's really good. But then when you combine that with the spicy buffalo wing sauce, you've got the hot honey gold, and it just takes it to another level.
And all Memphis barbecue joints have a hot honey gold. Most of them. Yeah. Not the big chains or whatever, but.
That's right. But now I'm seeing that sauce in other towns now. People are catching on. Or, I mean, that's been a sauce in Memphis for 30, 40 years probably. I've been eating those as long as I was old enough to eat chicken wings.
I've noticed boys love them.
They're good. And they make a fine meatball too. The Carolina
I swear by that meatball. I think you should share that recipe. It's not really a recipe.
Have we not done that?
I don't think so.
It is. Frozen meatballs. What is it called? Tangy Gold?
Yeah, Carolina. I thought it was Carolina Gold.
It's Cattleman's Gold.
Tangy Carolina Gold or something like that.
You can only find it at Walmart. You put it in a crock pot, let it go.
That's frozen meatballs. That's it.
Deliciousness.
Have you tried? You've tried them, hadn't you?
I hadn't, but it sounds really, really good.
Yeah. Might have to do those up here at work. Mm-hmm. What are you writing?
Meatballs. Sorry about that. I had to make some notes.
So then you got them on the smoker. You seasoned them and got them on the smoker.
Yeah. So I fired my drum up, and man, there's nothing to it. Just pour some lump charcoal in there, throw a couple tumbleweeds in there, hit it with the flame saber. Is that what that thing's called?
I think so.
That might be my coolest gadget of 2024. I love that thing. You just have to buy butane for it. I mean, it lasts a pretty long time. It's not like you're sitting there burning it like a candle in the wind.
No, it lights quick.
Yeah, it's just, and it's a torch and it shoots it fast. I mean, it works great.
So
you can find that at Tractor Supply, I think. Royal Oaks, it's a Royal Oak product. They're selling them.
They were sold out at a lot of places.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they were pretty popular.
That's the 2024 grilling gadget of the year to me.
That's a great stocking stuffer.
Heck yeah. Is it like $24 or something like that? Get a bottle of butane. You've got a nice little, it's definitely like a dirty Santa thing to bring.
That is a good idea.
Never thought about that. I can tell people really like it because on our videos, there's something called a retention graph where you can see where people revisit, and there's always a spike like right when you use that.
Use that.
Like, people go back and are like, what?
What was that?
I need to use it more often then at the end. Light a stogie with it or something.
So you fired up the pit. Did you add wood?
Yes, I added a chunk of hickory, just what I had. It was actually like a little stick. It was a stick burner stick, but I wanted some smoke on these wings. You have to watch it on the drum because it will get extra smoky on you, but it didn't do too bad. I mean, really, the fire never really, I only used like a quarter of the charcoal that I put in it. It only stayed lit like on that one side. And if you notice in the video, some of my wings over there, I rookie mistaked it on the drum. I didn't rotate my rack. About 15 minutes, I should have, just to get an even cook on it. And that's a good tip. If you've got a whole grate over on a drum where your coals are below and you're not, you're trying to keep one area going to burn across, you need to rotate that rack because it will cook the stuff that's right above that more so than the stuff on the outer edges of the rack. So every 15 minutes you can spin the rack, and it's super easy to do. And I just didn't think about it. I should have, because I did notice a few of those wings now I didn't bother them because it's wings, but if it would have been something else, ribs or something, I would have definitely needed to rotate it. Or if I was cooking big pieces of chicken, I would have needed to rotate it because they're going to get darker. That's right over that direct heat. So that's a mistake I made. It didn't mess up. It just would have looked, they'd have all been a little more even.
You were out of practice on that drum.
Well, that's the first time. I don't know. I think that's the first time I fired it up in the smoker.
I think so too. Because when I picked it up and looked inside, I was like, this thing looks like it was packed to move.
Yeah, and it was. We moved it there, and I got these other grills I've been cooking on. I've been neglecting my drum.
So you fired them up, and then you got your
coals getting hot. I brought it up to about 275. Dumped all my wings on the cooking grate, spread them out a little bit, and just let them roll. I have my vents. If you notice, I think you can see on the video, they're only about a quarter inch open. It's just a small gap on both the intakes, and then the exhaust. I usually start it out on about a quarter, see how the heat's doing. I just don't want it to run away from me. So when it starts creeping up, I check it back too, and it's about a quarter open at top. But at first, it may be halfway to start, and then you check it back. That's kind of what you control it with.
I'll say one thing that you taught me when I was cooking chicken on the drum for contests is when you check it back so very little.
Little moves make a big difference on that drum.
Tiny little, just boop, boop, boop.
Yep. You wouldn't think that, would you?
Yeah.
That a small little adjustment would make that big a difference, but it does.
And then watch it, and then you can go back and do again if you need to. But
yeah, and it's harder to do on the dial because the thermometer dial isn't as precise as, say, if you had a probe thermometer clip to it, and that's what you used to do. You would take like a ThermoWorks dot, run the wire underneath the lid, and then clip it to the actual gauge. And that way you could see, my little adjustment's making it go 3 degrees up. I need to adjust it back because it's going too fast. Or if it jumps, you can catch it in smaller increments, and it makes it easier to get those minute adjustments.
You get the reaction time faster.
Yeah, a lot faster because you're seeing every degree precise.
So you got them on. How long did you let them go?
They went about 25, 30 minutes at first, and then I flipped them, and because I wanted to cook it even. And the top side gets more color than the bottom side on the ones that were kind of off to the sides.
You think it's
just because of the airflow and the heat, the lid is right above them and it's holding that top heat down.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why you need to flip them, just to get them cooking even. Total cook time may have been an hour, 10, hour 15. It wasn't long. Even at 275, it still wasn't a long cook. Because, wings, they're done at 165, but that's not a done chicken wing. That's a safe to eat chicken wing.
It's not a salt.
Done chicken wing needs to be close to 200. That's when the meat will come right off the bone, and you can pull the little small bone out of the flat.
Oh, you just grab it, put it in your mouth,
and just pull it all off.
Out.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's how I want to eat my chicken. I mean, chicken wings it's mainly skin, and it ain't a whole lot of meat to them. It's just a lot of flavor to me, and I think that's why I like them.
I saw somebody the other day said that it was like, what's the worst cut of chicken? And they were like, wings, 100%. There's no meat. There's no skin. I'm like, what?
That's the best.
Yikes.
It's got the most skin to meat ratio to me.
I don't know about the meat ratio. It's got more skin for sure.
But skin to meat ratio, yeah.
I just like the wings. I don't know what it is. I like that piece of meat.
They eat
the worst
like
piece
dark
to
meat.
me.
Breast.
No.
Breast is the worst.
It's got to be probably the leg.
Okay. Yeah.
The leg. The leg's the worst part to me.
I agree.
I mean, I don't consider the back a piece of chicken. Right? I use all of it. I mean, I use chicken backs. Yeah. I mean, I don't grill chicken backs, but I use them when I'm making, rotisserie. If I'm smoking a whole chicken, or if we're boiling the chicken or roasting the chicken, I get all the meat off all of it. So
that's a good little nugget.
And those little oysters that are in the back are delicious. Is that part of the thigh, or is that part of the back?
I don't know.
Because if you cut it right, it should be attached to your thigh.
And when you get those little nuggets on like a piece of fried thigh or whatever, they're good.
Yeah, they call it the oyster.
Yeah, the oyster.
And it's like, but a lot of times when we're trimming up chicken, people just toss those because it doesn't look good hanging off the chicken. It's a great piece of meat. I used to use them to make stir fry. Like when we were doing a lot of comps, when we would trim chicken, I'd trim all that off, and I'd separate that oyster meat out. And then that's what I would use to make a stir fry. It was really good.
So you flipped them halfway through.
Then I started my sauce.
And I like this sauce. This was a good sauce.
But it's thin and it sticks to a wing really good, but it doesn't get all over you. It's not like a real thick barbecue sauce. It's more of a wing glaze is basically what it was. So you put this on the side. Yeah, I just had a little metal pan, whatever kind of little metal pan you got. I think that was a Traeger drip pan. That's just what I had in my grill drawer over there. So this will work. But a stick of butter. Think of making a wing sauce. You need some butter. You need that vinegar element. So I started. I wanted to have like a bourbon element to these wings, and so I put a stick of butter in there, and then I put some bourbon, like a shot. I think it was Jack Daniels. It wasn't bourbon; it was whiskey. Jack Daniels, I think, that's what I used for this one. So what I did was I took my wings and I scooted them over a little bit and made me a little space to set that pan, and then my butter's in the pan. My Jack Daniels is in the pan. I seasoned it up with some hot barbecue rub, same seasoning. Whatever seasoning you use on the wings, throw in your butter. And you want that butter to melt, so it's going to take it not too long. I mean, it's pretty close to the coals. It's 5 minutes maybe. The butter will be melted down. The rub, you just come back in and stir it up. Whiskey still hadn't cooked off yet, but it'll get to simmering. When that butter starts getting to simmer and starting to brown, that's when that whiskey's cooked. It's getting hot enough to cook the alcohol off of it, but it's leaving you that caramelly, oaky whiskey flavor. Mm-hmm. And it's so good. It's so good.
I'd argue that whiskey is the best alcohol to cook with.
It's a good one. Rum's pretty good too.
Brandy's up there, I guess. Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. Wine's good too. But I ain't going to argue with you. Whiskey. We'll say whiskey is.
It's up there.
We'll say whiskey is. It's up there. But once that cooks off for, say, 10, 12 minutes, you don't want to evaporate all your butter and, just get it all the way down. So once that cooks down, it's simmered good, it's reduced a little bit. That's when I added hot sauce and barbecue sauce. You could use whatever you like there. If you want it super hot, use a super hot barbecue sauce or hot sauce. But mine, the Killer Hogs hot sauce, is more of an Eaton, garlicky. Kind of think of Frank's, but better.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So that's where it's making it a wing sauce element. It's going to have that vinegary buffalo flavor because it's got the butter, it's got the hot sauce, it's got the garlic. Then it's going to have the bourbon, and then I tied the barbecue notes back and the sweetness to it with the hot rub and the sauce. It's super simple, and the butter and the hot sauce kind of thins down the barbecue sauce, so it turns it more into a glaze than it does. It's not going to. It's not. Yeah, like when you pour it, it's not going to. It's going to flow off a spoon. It's not going to slowly drizzle off a spoon, and that's what you want because I want it to. I want the seasoning on my my wings to stay there, but I want to coat them with this flavorful, little spicy, little sweet, little heat, a lot of flavor wing. And it just tastes really, really good. It's kind of a bourbon barbecue smoked wing. That's what it is.
So that went on at the very last couple minutes.
So it stayed on. I knew it was going to take about an hour and 10, hour and 15 for these wings. My sauce started about the halfway mark, and it cooked for about 12 minutes. And then I put the barbecue sauce and the hot sauce in there and let that cook a little bit. So it stayed on pretty much that whole time. I did set it off at the end just to get it out of the way. And at that point, you just want to let it sit at room temp, let it cool down a little bit. You don't want it piping hot because I'm not glazing these party wings with it like with a brush or anything, or I'm not even putting them back on the pit.
Could you put them in the sauce and put them back on the pit, or do you think it would get too charry?
No,
the wings are pretty charry.
It wouldn't get too charry, but it would take away from what I was trying to do with it because I still wanted it to be a wing. And to me, whenever I put sauce on wings and I put them back on, it tacks that sauce up and it turns it into more barbecue style wings like that, more of a competition style wing or something because you're building up this tackiness on the outside and it's good, but it's not
what you were going for.
It's not party wings.
Yeah.
It's not party wings. I was going for just, okay, these wings are seasoned good. They're smoked. They got a ton of flavor. Now let's toss them in a sauce and turn them into a tailgate style wing or a football food, if you will.
So you pull them off, they get done, they're hitting 195, 200.
Yeah, they're all right in there, 197. I sell 202. I mean, once I'd see that in a couple of them, I'm like, yeah, they're done. They're done. I'm not checking all of them.
Yeah.
It's really, you don't overthink cooking wings. As long as you get them up there north of 185, 190, you're good. Because they're still going to carry over some, and you're going to take them off, and you're going to toss them in sauce. You're going to let them set out a little bit. They're going to carry. They're going to be right. They're going to be right. And they're screaming hot, too, when you take them off. I mean, you bite into one then, you're going to burn yourself.
So you pull them off.
Pulled them off.
Tossed them.
Yeah, I just do them. So I like to put my stuff in a bowl. I don't know if y'all saw it in the video, if it's made it in the final cut. I toss that crap all over me. It's like I had done so good with my metal bowl.
Like you did it multiple times.
Yeah, I was tossing it good, tossing it good. And that last
you got a little
one,
cocky.
I just threw it all over myself. I got a little cocky with my wing saucing. But yeah.
It came out in the wash. So
I put, 8, 7, 8 wings in the bowl. Drizzle a little sauce over them. You don't have to get heavy with it. That's enough sauce to do a ton of wings. And this was 8 pounds of wings. It was 2 4-pound packs. If I had to guess, probably smooth 50 to 60 wings easy. Mm-hmm. And I still probably only used half the sauce. So I think you could do 100 with that amount of sauce. With that, that's a lot of wings. That's
Heck
a lot of
yeah.
wings.
Well, I say that we mowed through those.
Yeah, I made them pretty quick. I mean, there's a few that made it back home.
They were delicious. They were smelling good and looking good. And I was like, normally I try not to eat on film days. I couldn't resist.
Couldn't resist the wing.
And I was like, I'm going to just have one.
Tempted you. Then one wouldn't do it. It's like a Lay's potato
Like
chip.
6 wings later, I'm like, all right,
Then
you really got to stop this.
I told him, I was like, you've made a lot of wings since I've worked here, but this is probably the best wing
I think so.
that you think.
I'm telling you, it wasn't nothing I did. It was the drum. That flavor is phenomenal. And the texture of them is just, it's soft and it's really, really good.
But that
doesn't compare to a wing. Like a fried wing's not going to have that texture. A pellet wing's not going to have that texture. They're just not.
Well, they're not going to have that flavor, that smoke.
And they're not going to have that.
Really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that sauce was a killer sauce too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it would be good on a lot of stuff, not just a wing. That's a really good sauce. You can toss chicken nuggets in it. It'd be good.
So last week we had talked about the best new barbecue restaurants in the South or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'd said something about that Palmera barbecue. You had seen it on TikTok. I saw it on TikTok this week. So their whole thing is beef cheek is king.
Yes.
That is, and they serve hunks of beef cheek.
Sliced.
Yeah.
That was what I've never seen it. I've only seen cheeks like
shredded,
braised all the way down, shredded up, used in tacos or used in something like that. Braised maybe over vegetables or something maybe, but never seen it sliced like that. And that's what caught my attention. I was like, ooh.
It looked like a small, thick slice of brisket.
The fatty point though.
Just jiggle.
Yeah.
It was just
just
jiggly.
jiggling. Yeah.
And you know how you make a plate at a barbecue restaurant? It's usually on like a cafeteria tray, and they put down butcher paper and put all the sample. That was the best looking barbecue tray I've probably ever seen. I didn't
That's
I hadn't tried it, but and
what was it? Puerto Rican inspired?
Yeah,
barbecue?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go to Charleston.
Yes, it's on my list now.
Yeah.
Well, it's been on my list, but no, I really want to go. They take their beef rib and drizzle it with beef fat.
Wow.
Before they serve it.
So it's got like a warm tallow.
Yes.
Drizzled over.
They drizzled it
you
on
have to eat that fast, or that'd get.
Don't worry.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Filmy.
Yeah, it gets filmy quick.
Yeah.
And then they do beef barbacoa on a tostada with some sauce, pickled red onions, cajita cheese, and cilantro.
I saw that. It looks good. I'm not lying. I may have to attempt some of them recipes at home if I can't make it over that.
Oh, let's do that beef cheeks.
See, I like doing cheeks, but you lose the hardest thing about cooking cheeks is trimming them, because there's so much. Like you saw what that piece of meat looked like. It starts out by just. You don't even know what to do with it. I remember the first time I was cutting them up after I had them out at Matt's, and he'd cook some, and I saw they had them prepped up, and I was like, oh man, that looks, that meat looks awesome. It's got a nice marble to it. I didn't see what they looked like before, so I went to Sam's, and they got beef cheeks. It comes in this 5-6 pound mass. And there's 3 or 4 cheeks in there, but to get to those 3 or 4 cheeks, you've got to cut through all this.
It's a lot of sinew, isn't it?
Yeah, sinew and rough-looking meat that you wouldn't want to eat, and gristle, and just it's
It's worth it.
It's a little overwhelming to go to trimming beef cheeks. But once you figure it out, there's nothing really to it. You just clean them up. And if you know what they're supposed to look like at the end, you can see how you get there with them. But I have seen some guys, they just throw it all in a pot and cook it. But man, that pot gets to looking rough. Usually they're braising them. And so it gets that film floating on it. And, it's just not very appetizing because you still got to clean them at the end. They're just cleaning them up once they get done.
That sinew's got to come off.
Yeah.
It's got too much bad flavor.
But if you don't mind sitting there and trimming them, that's some of the finest meat you can eat.
I want you to try that. I want you to do that. Cook it to where you can slice it.
Yeah, I guess you just wouldn't take it as far.
I guess you just don't take it as far. Yeah.
Or either you just hold it at the end and let it,
Oh, I'm sure
cool
he's
off
got it
a
in
little
a proof
bit.
oven. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you they cook them the night because it takes hours to cook them, to braise them. I'll definitely do that though. That's a challenge accepted. Sliced cheek.
Now would be a good time for us to take a quick break and pay some bills.
The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit PrimoGrill.com and check them out.
Did you see the Mayo Chug contest this weekend at the Tennessee-NC State football game?
No. Did you say chug? Like chug a beer?
It's like a mayo eating contest.
That is disgusting.
They weren't using the right mayo.
Yeah. It's the mayo we shall not name. John.
They weren't
Wayne
using
Mayo.
Blue Plate.
It was John Wayne Mayo.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of mayo it is. I wasn't getting a mayonnaise eating contest.
It looked rough. They had it all over them.
I like a turkey sandwich with Blue Plate mayonnaise any day of the week. Real mayonnaise, quality since 1927.
Best
but I
mayonnaise
am not getting into a contest where it's to see how
fast
Blue Plate mayonnaise, how fast I can eat a jar or whatever of Blue Plate mayonnaise.
They had it all over them.
Oh, God, it's disgusting.
You know how
You know, it would smell after about 30 minutes.
You know how it
the only time I put mayonnaise all over me, I went to panic mode one time. Our son came home. This is one of the joys of having kids, Tyler. Our son comes home. Well, they sent a thing. Someone in your kid's class may have had a case of head lice or whatever. And so I went into full blown panic. I never had head lice as a kid. Never hit our house. I guess we were lucky. But Shell's telling me how common it was. And so I get to reading all these things, and I don't remember what all we did.
I just remember I was in the kitchen, and I turned around, and you come out of the bathroom, and you had mayonnaise all over your head and a panicked look in your eye.
I was not getting head lice. And I don't even think Michael had it.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They all got it.
The whole class got it. Sleeping on kindergarten mats. I'll get you head lice quick. But yeah, I wouldn't take no chances. I grease myself.
Screw me. Screw the kid. He's
self-preservation. It was a terrible mistake, Tyler. I will say this. I put that mayonnaise on me. I was gagging the whole time I'm washing it out of my hair in the shower. And then it's just in the, oh God, it's horrible.
I was like, I think you might have overreacted.
You think?
Egg and oil and fat and oh my God.
Did I have the hairnet thing on too? Because it seemed like you had a shower cap and I'd put that on my, if you'd had a picture of it, that'd have been classic. That's a Blue Plate commercial there. Not only is it good on turkey, it's great.
Protects against everything.
Great for your hair.
Out of all the home remedies, you were like, yep.
I knew you had plenty of mayonnaise. It was like, well, I ain't even got to go to the store for this one. She's got 6 quarts in there. Got 2 or 3 open in the fridge, random amounts.
I can
We've
see
got the stock in the closet.
I can see your brain thought process though, because it's really slippery. So you're like, oh yeah, the bugs can't like sit on my head; they'll fall off. But, like, I get it.
I don't know what it was. I guess the oil.
I guess
supposed
it's
to kill
the
them,
oil smothers them or whatever. I don't know.
I didn't get lice. I don't think Blue Plate
Joke's on y'all.
I didn't get that lice. I don't think they'll come near you. I think it's more that smell after a little bit. Real mayonnaise.
Hashtag that's the good stuff.
So I saw this idea and I thought it was pretty great. With dove season and everything, everybody complains about actually cooking the dove breast. It's difficult, whatever. I saw somebody, they took an oyster pan and set it on the grill and put each dove breast in, one of those little compartments.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
And then put the butter and the...
So you're just kind of searing them in that oyster
butter
pan.
sauteing them kind of.
Oh, I would flip them meat side down and let them get a good crust on them and then flip them over and then you could temp them and each one you would know because dove, we eat it medium rare. And that's a really good idea.
I thought so too.
We've got an oyster pan.
Yeah, we've got a couple oyster pans, like grill oyster pans,
Oh, I'm trying that.
I thought that was a really good idea. So it's going to be like a sauteed dove breast.
Well, see, so we started doing, everybody does poppers. And poppers are good. Don't get me wrong. I like a jalapeno. I like cream cheese. But whatever meat you put in it usually gets so overcooked to get the pepper tender, to get the cheese hot, to get the bacon cooked around it, you pretty much nuked. And so it's a waste of dove or of deer meat or of duck. It's a waste of it. So what we started doing was just doing skewers of the meat itself. And that way where you could precisely control, the sear on it, how far you're cooking it. So where it's juicy and you can still, if you want poppers, just do pepper cheese and wrap it in bacon and cook that and then have your meat on the side. But this is a great idea because it's even taking that a step further. I'm imagining a whole breast, double lobed, not cut off the breast.
No, because the bone was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like two little nuggets on the side of the bone.
Yep.
And you could it would fit in the oyster tray. Perfect. That's a great idea.
Because when I saw the video, I was like, what is that? I kind of look like Rocky Mountain oysters or something like that up in there. I had to do a double take. And then when I realized it was dove breast.
So, that's good. And it'll hold a dozen, so almost a limit.
You don't really kill that many.
You'd like to.
That's the
We haven't had any birds in a minute. But I fill up half a tray with the ones I killed this year.
So I got some questions for you from the community.
Oh, I love the community. It's a great place to answer questions or to find out the answers to questions. If you have a question, go to the community.
Well,
Let's Get to Cooking on Facebook and ask your question and somebody will answer it or either we might answer it.
So somebody was in there and somebody had asked, they were having problems with a crappy pellet grill or whatever. And somebody else was giving them crap about, you must be a newbie. You have a crappy grill. You need a real grill.
Oh, we don't do that.
I was like, take that crap somewhere else now.
We were just talking good about y'all. Y'all better
come here to learn. Yeah.
Because I don't care what your opinions are. You don't like pellet grills? Fine. Yeah. You want to cook your steak to well done?
Go for it.
Do it. Wash that chicken if you want to. But don't tell me how to do it. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Or don't tell anybody else.
I learned that a long time ago. Right. The most right person I know. How could you be wrong?
It's worked out pretty good for you.
Worked out great. Once you learn that, any marriage is easy.
Okay. So, Ramey, he found a whole piece of hog jowl.
Mm-hmm.
How would he cook a whole piece of hog jowl? I'm assuming it's cured.
Oh, it's already cured like bacon? Or is it like green hog jowl?
Give me a second.
All right. Go ahead. Take all the time you need. No, I'll talk about both ways. So most of the time when we see hog jowl, it's already been cured and it's used. It's a New Year's Day delicacy in the South. I don't know if everybody eats it, but it's just like bacon.
It's so good.
They cure it like bacon.
It's better than bacon.
And so sometimes it's a big chunk because people will cut that chunk up and they'll use it in vegetables or in stuff to seasoning. It's a flavoring You don't just eat the big chunk of it. But it's really good when it's cut up and sliced like bacon, and you can cook it in a skillet just like you fry bacon. But the best way is on a sheet pan in the oven, and you cook it like that on like 400 degrees, and it gets brown, it gets crispy, and it's absolutely delicious. Now
it's when like it's crispy, and when you take a bite of it, it kind of melts in your mouth.
Yes, it's a different fat. It's a different fat than bacon fat. It's really good. But often it'll have, they call it the rind, but what it's actually is it's skin that's left on it from outside. And so if that little piece is on there, it's almost impossible to chew. So
you just kind of eat around it.
Yeah, you kind of eat around it, but a lot of times I'll just trim that rind off.
Before
it's
you cook it?
little piece of skin that's around it. Yeah, 'cause I don't really like it on there.
I don't either.
But that's how often I cook it.
But yeah.
Now, you can also, if it's uncured hog jowl, you can cook it like a pork butt. You can season it up, get some smoke on it, and then wrap it up. And so basically think of braising. That's what you're doing to it to get it super soft. You're wrapping it up in foil, maybe add a little bit of moisture in there. Or not. It's got a lot of fat. It's going to make some moisture itself, but you're cooking it until it's fall apart, pulled pork basically. And it'll shred up, and it gets that texture. Now, it has a lot of fat in it, so you got to render it. So it's better if it's cooked slow, not fast, when you're trying to do this. But it'll render down. And like when we cook whole hogs, people overlook that head meat, and that's one of the first things I'm going for is that jaw meat that's up in there off a whole hog that's been cooked. As long as the hams, as long as the shoulders, as long as the rib, everything that's in that whole hog. That head has to cook too. And man, the meat is fantastic because it's encapsulated by so much fat. So as that renders, it keeps it moist, keeps it juicy, keeps it flavorful. It's really, really good.
And there's like an ocular muscle.
Yes, that
too.
temple meat that's in that little ocular cavity is fantastic too in the head. It has a texture a lot like that jowl meat. But that's the only ways that I've seen it used.
His is hickory smoked whole jowl.
Yeah, so it's going to be more like the bacon product. It's just, so he has a choice. He could slice it himself, or he could use it to cut it up into chunks and use it in something. It's not going to make pulled meat when it's been cured like that. It's going to be, it's saltier. So
you got to think about it like a slab of uncut bacon.
Yeah. It's basically what you think of it. I've never tried to make like hog jowl burn ends or cube it up and things that way. I don't know. You probably could. You probably could. It'd probably need to render a little bit longer than belly, but I don't see why you couldn't. That'd be worth if he's got a bunch of it, experiment with it and see. But I would slice that stuff up and cook it. Cook it like bacon, and you could do it on a grill. I've cooked bacon on a sheet pan on a grill too. Set you up a little raised rack to where the grease will drip down and it'll cook. You could do it candy style if you wanted to. Add a little glaze to it at the end. You could make a black pepper hog jowl. You could put whatever flavor you want with it. Would be really good. But think of it more as a piece of slab bacon than a piece of raw pork that you could really cook and turn into pulled pork.
So TW Barbecue did a classic steak Diane on the grill. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that one.
So
did he use a ribeye or a strip or?
He seasoned and seared fillets, a couple minutes per side, set them aside, and then sauteed mushrooms, shallots, garlic, added a little tomato paste, added in some brandy, beef broth, and then once that had cooked down, he mixed in heavy cream and a little Dijon mustard, and then you put the fillets back in there. Kind of help it darken the sauce and everything, and then serve it up. He served his with roasted potatoes.
That's a classic steak dinner right there.
You've never done a steak Diane on the grill?
I don't think I called it Diane. It was my take on one.
Yeah. Did you do a recipe with it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's been a long time ago. That's a steak. I don't know why they call it Diane sauce or whatever, where that came from. That's one of Shell's learning corners. But
I don't know where the Diane came from, but I know where it started because I Googled it.
Oh, where did it start?
So it's
had to be somebody's mistress or old lady.
She doesn't get the good meat. She's got to have hers covered sauce. It's a dish of pan-fried beefsteak with a sauce made from seasoned pan juices. It was originally cooked tableside and sometimes flambéed.
Because of the alcohol they put in it? What'd you say they used?
Brandy.
Brandy?
Yeah. It was likely invented in London in the 1930s. and became very popular everywhere between the 1940s through the 1960s. It's now considered retro.
I see it on menus still.
Yeah. And I've never ordered it because I'm like...
We've had it in the Caribbean because they serve it on their steaks. When you ordered a filet there, it's with that Diane sauce. Yeah, steak Diane sauce.
But every time I go to like a steakhouse and it's on there, I'm like, I don't want a steak,
I don't want the sauce.
I don't want the sauce. I want a good steak without the sauce. Yeah.
Taste the beefiness.
Yeah.
I'm not a super fan of buying those either, like the Bernays or any of them, like a red wine demi-glaze or something like that. I mean, it's okay, but I don't want it covering my steak up.
Me too. Sometimes I'll get it on the side, get something on the side.
I think a lot of times they were doing these sauces because they were just cooking these steaks in high heat ovens. And so the meat wasn't getting any flavor. And so they were trying to come up with something that they could serve with it to give it some flavor, to cover something up.
Yeah.
But if you cook a good steak over a wood fire grill where the meat speaks for itself, you don't need. The only thing you might do is put a pat of butter up under that steak when you put it on the table and or on the plate and let it rest and let those meat juices mix with that butter. And that's all the steak sauce you need.
I agree.
That's really just to dip up your bread and tater.
Yeah, I like a little butter.
Yeah.
Like a good compound butter is a good
steak butter? Oh, I love a steakhouse butter.
Like Bourrée has like a blue cheese compound butter that they do on top, and it kind of melts as you eat it, and it's blue cheese.
Oh, I bet it's good.
That sounds good. You've done a blue cheese compound butter before.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
On a filet, man, I like a black and blue filet.
But I was thinking if you had a lesser cut of steak.
Yeah, I could see it on that.
Yeah. That's a good way to use.
Mm-hmm. Some people just don't like really rare beef.
That's true.
They want a sauce to cover it all up.
I wonder if you could do hamburger steak, Diane.
Yeah, absolutely. Why couldn't you? It'd be like hamburger steak with mushroom gravy. It's just a fancy version of a mushroom kind of gravy, which it didn't have a flour or anything to give it the thickening agent, did it?
No.
Because you said it was just cream and a little butter or Dijon at the end. But imagine you let it reduce. You let it reduce down. That's the whole ticket to it.
His looked delicious. It looked really good.
It is good. I mean, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely tasty.
I just always.
But when I do it, I like it on the side though. Mm-hmm. I don't want it poured all over my steak. Give it to me on the side.
That's when I like when they do like a crab cake on top and they pour like a béarnaise or something over the top because it doesn't get all over your steak. You can kind of put your crab cake to the side.
See, that's when I've had them. Like I've had the lump crab with the hollandaise or the béarnaise, and I'll ask them to put it on the side, or either if they're going to put it over the asparagus, don't put it on the steak, put it over to the side, and let me control how I want that administered. Mostly, it's going to be dipping.
Trey, we talked about rotisserie turkeys.
Yeah,
he says
he's done one.
Yeah, he does. He says he does. That's what he does every year, and his looked really good.
Really? Did he have it? Did he have a picture of how he did it?
Yeah.
Was it all tied up? Because I mean, that's the whole thing to me. When you do rotisserie, you can't have those wings and legs flailing around. You've got to keep it a tight package like the bird. So you'd almost have to like use butcher twine and come back over the, you know when you buy a Sam's or a Costco chicken and it's got the string on it, it's all tied up. That's what you have to do to it to get it to stay on the spit. Otherwise,
he had his tied up.
Let me see. Oh, that's beautiful. We got sound effects and everything on that one. Man, that's a good looking turkey right there.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. I'm doing one of those this year.
But he did have his tied. And he showed a picture of it.
I'm gonna put that rotisserie on my Primo. I think I have one. I can't remember if they sent me one.
Yeah, we do. We found all.
You found all that stuff? Yep. Okay. I want to put that on there, and I'm gonna do rotisserie turkey.
I mean, I feel like you would get color everywhere.
And you just keep basting it with butter and letting it drip down. And it'd be so good. Chicken butter.
Turkey butter.
Yeah. Well, think of all the herbs you could put. So you could use your rosemary and your thyme and your parsley and your garlic and your shallot and have all that melting and then brushing all over that. Mm-hmm. And you make you a brush out of the herbs. And that's what you're brushing that turkey with is that skins.
You did one recipe where you
feel like Kramer looking at Kenny Rogers Roasters.
You had one recipe. I don't know if it was a tomahawk. It was some big steak. and you put a pan underneath the steak.
I think that was on a PK 360 I did that on.
Yeah, like you had raised the steak up and you put a pan underneath the steak and you put butter in that pan underneath the steak with garlic and herbs, and you let that cook while you were cooking the steak. The steak was dripping down in there and you were re-basting it. And it was so good because you're constantly cooking those herbs and garlic and the butter.
So I need those turkey juices mixed with my turkey butter too, dripping in a pan underneath. With any other flavors you want to impart. That wouldn't be too hard to do. I don't know if I'd have to rig me up if the heat would be too hot for it, or if I need to rig me up some kind of ramp to catch the juices and let it get back to the cool spot of the grill. I don't know.
You'd have to keep it on the cool spot.
Yeah, well, see, because I don't want that butter just to scorch, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when I did it with that tomahawk, I was doing a 2-zone. But with the rotisserie, you're really not doing a 2-zone.
That's right. We'll figure it
I'll figure that out. Because that's going to be really, really good. Or it has potential to be really good.
Hey, I'm just throwing out ideas. Love it. Crack's Country Cooking. So he did party ribs, but he took your Greek rib recipe and applied it to party ribs.
I bet that was pretty good.
I know. Those Greek ribs are some of my favorite ribs
If you could cook those and slide to where they'd slide off the bone and, man, put it in a pita, that'd be really good.
He served it with a tzatziki.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being jam up.
But he used a vortex and cooked him some party ribs, I've
seen a lot of people doing the party ribs here lately. There's been a bunch of people do videos on them here lately.
They're good.
They are good. It's definitely a football food.
And they're easy.
How would you do party brisket?
I don't know.
Think you'd do that.
I don't think it'd be the same. Mm-hmm. And Matthew, he took some day old Krispy Kreme donuts, wrapped them bacon around it, and then grilled it, smoked it.
Tractor tire donuts or just regular?
No, just regular Krispy Kreme.
Huh.
And looped some bacon around it, cooked it.
Oh, kind of like the onions.
Yeah, kind of like the onions. Yeah.
Mark does that with the donut holes.
That's what I was thinking.
We use the caramel drizzle on them. You wrap them in the bacon, but it really works better if you buy that pre-cooked bacon because it's still pliable and you don't have to cook it as long. Did he use pre-cooked bacon or did he use?
I think he used raw bacon, regular raw bacon.
I wonder how that turned out.
But he seasoned it with the barbecue rub just like we do the donut holes. I don't think he served it with the caramel sauce, but.
Why not?
Why not? I thought that was a good idea.
Heck yeah.
But.
I'd be down.
And a lot of people are talking about cooking chili. It's almost time.
Almost. Now we're still 89 degrees. It's too hot to be thinking chili. This week our temps are climbing back up. I want that fall to come back in.
Next week it's supposed to come back down.
I want the high. Now this is just my personal opinion. The high has to be lower than 80 degrees to eat chili. If it's 78, 79, I could probably still get down with it. But if it's getting above 80, I ain't eating chili.
That's when I didn't cook chili this weekend.
I was wanting it bad. I was trying to will it. I was wheeling in fall. I was trying my hardest.
80-something. The kids were in the pool swimming. I was like, I can't.
I can't cook chili. They're still swimming.
But I did use my swamp bucket.
You did. And I'm going to apologize to you. I was making fun of your swamp bucket and doubting. I figured it would make you a week to do boiled peanuts in that thing. And I was surprised. And those were.
You said yesterday they were the best
boiled peanuts I've ever had. They were. And that's hard for me to admit. But really, it's not. Boiled peanuts aren't that good. But these were the best.
You've been eating on them all week.
I have. And they're still good cold. And I said, they're not going to be any good once they get cold. They're probably good right now just because they're hot. And then, nope, I was wrong. They're in a Ziploc bag, and we still have some of them, and they're still really good. It's just a ton of flavor. And it has a good saltiness to it. It reminds me of shrimp bowl, crawfish bowl, crab bowl, whatever. It's got that flavor to it. The peanut has some texture. It's not just mushy. And it's really, really good. Really good. I was surprised.
So I used King Crawl seasoning, but
not the King Crawl bowl.
But not the King Crawl bowl. And I'm going to use the King Crawl bowl next time.
And you used some liquid too, didn't you?
Yeah, whatever we had. It was like half a.
It's probably about 4 ounces.
Yeah. and a lot of salt.
Well, yeah, like box salt.
Box salt.
But not a whole box.
Mm-mm.
How many pounds of peanuts? How much water? This is a 5-gallon bucket with like a hot eye at the bottom of it. And it looks very sus because it's got this cord coming out and it says, don't mess with the cord. Don't jiggle the cord. Watch the cord. Don't plug the cord in something else, an extension cord. It had all kinds of rules about the cord. And I get it.
Where were those rules?
In that piece of paper.
Oh,
like it wasn't directions on how to cook anything. It was on what not to do to the cord. Like don't try to wash it on I don't know how you clean the thing.
I rinsed it and wiped it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting.
But it was 3 bags. I guess they were 2-pound bags.
So about 6 pounds
Or was it 1 pound
of
bag?
raw, dry peanuts.
Yes. And I filled it up to where I thought that would be plenty of boiling water. And within an hour, I was adding more water. So I would add a lot more water next time.
So you go water in first or peanuts in first?
I went peanuts, water.
And then seasoning?
And then seasoning, salt,
And then
king
plug it
crawl,
into the wall and hope.
Plug it into the wall and let it go.
Yeah.
And it did good.
They boiled for, what'd you boil them, 4 hours?
4.5.
And then soaked them for 2.5, 3?
No, it was only an hour and a half soaked.
It was about a day
Because I couldn't
process,
wait.
though.
Yeah.
Before they were right.
I put them in at like 9:30 and we were eating them 2:33.
Yeah, but they weren't really good till 5, and they're really good now. I think the longer they sit there, that was what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, you're going to get these raw peanuts, and you'll be able to eat them, but they're still going to be kind of hard. But they softened up, and as they soaked, and I figured it'd take a week to soak them, but it didn't. I would give yourself 8 hours, a full 8 hours is when they're going to be optimal.
I would agree because I didn't. You liked them to have a little texture. I want mine a little more soft, and I don't think they got to the level I wanted them.
So you'd need to soak them longer. I probably would have boiled them. Would you boil them longer?
I don't know. I got to work on my method.
It was good. I ain't gonna lie. I knocked you. I made fun of you about your swamp bucket.
I'm used to it.
What else would you use that swamp bucket for?
Anything you want.
You go boil crab or boil shrimp in it?
You can, but I was thinking when you do crawfish, you could use a swamp bucket for your potatoes, your corn, or the sides.
Oh, I could definitely see that.
I wouldn't do crawfish in it, but
yeah, no, I wouldn't either because you never get it back clean.
Yeah,
that's my whole hang up with it. You can't take that element out, so stuff gets up under it. It's hard to clean. I don't even know if you're supposed to spray up in there. I mean, I guess you fill it with water. It doesn't hurt it to get wet. I don't know.
It's fine. If it goes wrong, we'll
see what happens next time when you plug it up. It might be a one and done and short out the house.
I do have a correction to make from last week because my wife secretly started listening to the podcast and called me out on this when I got home. So apparently she was not eating the shells. Apparently it was just me. So I was driving and she fed me the first one. And I guess she fed it to me and in my mouth, like I thought she was feeding me the shell. So I thought that's how she was eating it. So then the rest of the time when she would give me the cup or whatever to take a bite, I was just whole.
And you were just eating the shells and all?
Yeah, because I thought that's what she was doing. But like I said, I was driving, so I wasn't paying that much attention to what she was doing.
Shells, dude.
And she was like, "Why would you make everybody think I'm a freak? Like that was you."
I don't think it makes her a freak.
I've seen a lot of people
just
eat
likes
the
her
shells.
fiber.
I've seen a lot of people eat the shells. It's usually old men.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I didn't like them. So I got to give them another fair shake.
They're pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't run out and buy a swamp bucket just to make boiled peanuts or anything, but I wouldn't run out to make boiled peanuts.
I think that gas station, like on the corner, like I think it's the BP in Hernando has them.
Yeah.
Is it those like, it looks like a cauldron or something?
Like a corporate, like some corporate company owns it.
It's a crock, and those come in a can. Like
they're already boiled.
They're like in a number, what is it, a number 5 can or whatever?
Number 10, yeah.
So wait till I find kind of a
number it is.
I'll have to wait till I find like some authentic ones and try it again. But.
Yeah, usually. So there used to be a guy that sat up there on the side of Goodman Road, right between South Haven and Olive Branch, that would boil peanuts. You could pull in there and he'd have his big crawfish pot out.
There was a guy in my hometown. I'm from a little, very small town, but he would always set up on the corner and sell boiled peanuts, and they were good until one day I saw him getting his water out of the pond.
No way. He was creek water.
Oh, God.
Man, there's a good peanut. Got a little flavor to it, a little extra flavor. Yeah, that's frog. You're eating frog peanuts. Don't mind them swimming around in that water. Gives it a little extra flavor. Frog marinade.
Well, Malk, that's all I have for you today.
All right. Well, Tyler, do you want to tell everybody where they can find us or about the community and all that good stuff?
So first of all, I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, but we got a big giveaway coming up. It's another grill. I'm not going to tell y'all what kind of grill, but make sure y'all head on over to the Let's Get to Cooking community over on Facebook.com/group/H2Q community. We're thinking it's going to be kind of holiday themed, so it's coming up here really soon. Some more details to drop on that. And in the meantime, I literally hang out there all week and weekend. It's an awesome place to share recipes, hang out with other people, comment on other people's pictures, and just have great conversations with like-minded people.
Heck.
But if you're mean to somebody, I'm going to call you out.
Absolutely.
Shell's the police out there.
We're going to make a new segment where we just
She wants to
name drop.
You, Jonathan. Don't talk to our friends. I don't have any clue who's talking bad to somebody on there. I hadn't seen it. You don't see it very often. So
I know. That's...
yeah.
Oh,
But anyway, Shell, where can they find us?
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us here at How to Barbecue Right Podcast, and we will be back next week to do it again. Till then, we'll see y'all. We gone.